You may be working on a project where you may have 30 or 40 or 50 tracks. And if you have that many tracks, well, then you definitely need to use sends. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, JustDaNorm. I hope you all are feeling great wherever you may be in the world. Today's video is all about routing your signal in Cakewalk to wherever you may want it to go, whether it's going to a bus or going to a send. Oh, and if you join content like this, definitely subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell. That way you're notified every time I post a new video. Let's get into it. Woo! All right, I'm in Cakewalk by Bandlab, and I have this song that I just created. Let's go ahead and play it real quick.
The fares on the bus goes up and down. The fares on the bus goes up and down.
All right, so that's what I have right now. Now, I just created this today. Actually, I started on it yesterday, but I created it, finished it, and is it going to be a whole song? I have no idea. But what I want to show you is how to route your signals from a track to wherever you may want it to go. Now, there's a bunch of different ways you can do this, and I don't want you to get discouraged because I want to take this baby steps. That's what this channel is all about, teaching you from the beginner perspective, that way that you know how to do exactly what you need to do. So I'm going to just pick a random track. If I want to pick a bass, let's say I pick my bass track, I'm going to highlight it. Now, first thing you're going to notice is that normally your output at the bottom is set to output master, right? My master track is over here, right? Just like any other mixer, that's normally where your master would be. So, but if I want to route it somewhere differently, I can do this. I'm going to show you two different ways. First way is I can actually go to the output, click on it, and then I can send it to a few different options. I can send it to a new stereo bus. I can send it to a surround bus. I can send it to an aux track or a patch point. Now, for the sake of this video, we're going to talk about the stereo bus right now because there are the other ways that you can send out or route. I will cover that in another video if you need more help with that. So to create a new stereo bus, I'm going to do that. You're going to notice that it creates another bus right over here. Why is this helpful? Well, in this song, I have how many tracks? 13 tracks. Okay, I'm using 13 tracks right now, which isn't that many. Actually, yeah, 13 tracks. Well, no, one of these tracks don't belong. But so it's 12 tracks actually, but I'm using 12 tracks, which is like, you know, that's a decent size for a session. But you may be working on a project where you may have 30 or 40 or 50 tracks. And if you have that many tracks, well, then you definitely need to use sends, because the sends are going to allow you to route your signal somewhere else. And in this case, I'm routing it to another bus. So this is like creating a separate master mix over here, which will allow me to adjust the bass more quickly. Say, for instance, I have everything set on the bass. I love the way it sounds. I love the EQ. I love all the effects. Only problem is it's just too loud. If it's too loud, then I can come over here. And now when I turn this down, when I play the bass part, let's solo it. And you'll notice that when I bring this fader down, this bus E, you don't hear the bass anymore. So that comes in handy if you are trying to mix, like, okay, I've got my drums sounding great. I love the way they sound together. It's just got to get them to fit better in the mix. So now that if you have your own bus for the drums and you have your own bus for the keyboards or the horns or whatever instruments you're using, now you can deal with 5 or 6 faders versus having to deal with 40 or 50 faders. So you tell me which one is easier. That's going to be much easier to do that. Also, it allows you to free up your memory resource, because when I create this bus, any effect that I want to plug into this track, it's available. And then that way, say for instance, if I had 2 or 3 different bass lines, maybe I had electric bass, acoustic bass, upright bass, or maybe I had a guitar and I wanted to put that under the same processing, then that means I can go over here, I can add, you know, reverb, I can add delay or whatever I need to add, and all of those tracks will get that signal, or send the signal rather, to this output, which has all those effects on it. This is exactly what I did with this song with the vocal parts. I just quickly did this. I'm not really overthinking anything. Now I have my vocal tracks down here. This is the aux track, which is another way that you can use to send. I'll talk about that in 1 second though. Don't get ahead of me. All right, so track 8 to track 13 are my vocal tracks. And I have some of them, 2 of them are the same, but I just kind of copied it, nudged it a little bit so the way they're not quite in sync with each other, and then I panned it. So if I want to use all of these 5 tracks and I want to add the same reverb, the same chorus, the same delay, the same compression, there's no sense in me trying to put all of this on each of these tracks. Why not just take all of these tracks and bust it out, put it on the school bus, and let the school bus have all of those goodies on it. All right, so here's the bus over here. All right, and then I can just add the effects. So in this case, I already have it. I have a EQ on here, compression, the VC64, which is like compression, and I have EQ on that one, and then I have another EQ, and then I have a reverb. All right, you might be asking, why do I need all that EQ? I mean, sometimes it's good to have multiple plugins to help you lighten the load. It's hard for one plugin to do every single thing, unless it's a magic plugin. But if you can get a few different plugins that cover different parts, different problematic parts, or different parts that you want to enhance, that will definitely work. All right, so I've got all of these effects there, and now it's not using up my memory as much, you know. If I had ran plugins on every single thing, had all of these plugins on all of these tracks, you would see my memory go up a lot more. All right, another option that you may be able to do is, or that you can do, is to just send the signal from one track to another track, which is called an aux track. Or you can do a patch point as well, which is another option, and we haven't talked about that yet, but we'll get to that in another video. All right, so I can go to send, and let's say I'm on track 8. I could click on the send, and you'll see all these options. I can send it to a separate output from my mixer. All right, this is great if you want to route certain instruments to, like, say, for instance, the keyboard player only really wants to hear the bass player. So if you have a studio going on, you can have it routed out that way. If you want to do a master, you can do a master, which is already, which kind of defeats the purpose because you already have it routed to master anyway. But if you want to do the metronome, so like that person can hear the metronome, like, in their ears or their headphones, preview track. Some of these tracks I don't even really use. But then you have the vocals, which is over there. So I can send that to the vocals bus, or I can send it to aux1, which I already have set up, or I can create a new aux track. So when I create a new aux track, notice it's going to be right here. And now I have a separate level that I can control. I can pan my effects. So like if I add anything to this, so like this aux track 2 is right here. That means I can add effects to this. Now this is great because now you can actually record the output. So like, say for instance, I wanted to record all the effects that were here, but on a separate track. I can do that now because now it's going to be on aux track or aux 2. So like if I recorded this, I can press record. All right. Okay, and it's recording to this track. Let's check it. Okay, and I can stop it. And now, look, I can solo that track.
The fader on the bus goes up and down.
Okay. Which is cool because if I had any effects on there, all of that stuff would be recorded. This stuff gets a little heavy, and I have to admit, some of this stuff I've never used before in my life. I use the aux sends. I do use the sends every now and then. I do use the stereo bus, but I'm learning more and more. So if you have a lot of questions about this area, or if it's something that I didn't touch and maybe I made a mistake, or maybe it's something I didn't explain correctly, definitely let me know in the comments below. I am human. I am trying to get back into recording videos again. It's been such a hard time to get in here and make videos for you all, but I love making videos. So I hope that you find value in this video. If you stayed this far, definitely hit like, subscribe, share, comment. I love you all. Peace.